Hello, dear friends. Welcome. Let's see if everything is okay. I think we have a bit of a technical situation, but hopefully it will be fine. So let me know if you can see me and hear me. I hope, yes. Okay. So let's start also our meeting on Facebook. Hello on Facebook. Hello on YouTube. Welcome. My name is Marina Stoichkova. Today I'm here with AstroladaOfficial, and we will talk about evolution and revolution and what is the difference and why this is such an important topic for us, not only now, but I would say during the whole upcoming year, during the whole upcoming 2024. We will talk about the importance of the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, which is something that happens once in approximately 14 years. Even though this is happening in approximately 6 months from now, I decided that now would be a great time also to prepare in advance and to know what would be beneficial for us. What are the positive things we can do? First, I want to talk to you a little bit about what is the difference between evolution and revolution, why this is important, and how we can find also those topics in our birth chart. The important thing, first of all, evolution and revolution are really different. We talk about revolution. In astrology language, this is a connection between Saturn and Uranus. This is the energy when we have something stable, we have something consistent. It could be good or bad. And at the same time, we have the impulse to change it. But usually the focus is we want to change something here and now. So Saturn, some kind of forms, something that is already here. And this connection, this energy, Uranus and Saturn, triggers what we call revolution. This is related to destroying something in order to bring something new. And also what's very important is that when we are destroying the old forms, we create the new forms, but then at certain point, we get to the same cycle. So revolution eventually always leads to another level of Saturn, which would bring the need eventually to have another Uranus cycle. But this is really essential because, as we will see in a moment with Jupiter, Uranus, and what we will expect during 2024, this is completely different. So when we have the revolution energy, again, we want to destroy, we want to change what we have now, and we want something new. Like the impulse can be, I would say, even very idealistic, very positive. But what happens is that we are more focused on the things that we don't like. Saturn, it's the past or the present or whatever we want to change. And eventually it has like an ending point. So we change, we transform, we have this revolution. And then even if the initial impulse has been to move on, to continue to bring something new, eventually this new thing turns into another level of Saturn. So eventually with time, this turns also into something that could be limiting or is not moving. It's also something that becomes like stable and eventually rigid. So this is very interesting if you think about it. Every revolution, even historically or politically, or I would say in other areas as well, when we talk about those type of steps, like revolutionary steps, yes, at first we have a change, we have something brand new. It may even feel like some form of liberation. And then eventually this same thing turns into the next metaphorical prison, or the next level of rigidity or stuckness, or something that doesn't keep evolving and doesn't keep changing with time. So that's really essential. Uranus and Saturn can bring those steps. So eventually Uranus turns again into Saturn. After a certain time, we start feeling that, you know, we need another change, we need another revolution. So we do it in those steps. But the point is that usually there is something also destructive. We feel like we need to destroy the old forms. We are trying to escape them. We are trying to run away from the limiting forms. And ironically, eventually we end up in a similar place after that, because that's just one, I'm not sure how to call it exactly, psychological, spiritual truth, or it's just a mechanism that we are all affected by. If we are trying to run away from something, eventually we end up being there. So if we are trying to run away from Saturn and we want something new, some kind of revolution, eventually after that we end up in a similar place. What is the difference when we talk about evolution? Astrologically speaking, this is Jupiter and Uranus. This is the energy which is focused on development and growth, and it doesn't have an end point. It doesn't have like a final destination. That's really essential. So when we have Saturn and Uranus, we get to a point where we stop. And eventually that's what also brings this feeling of rigidity. When we talk about evolution, this is about continuous ongoing development. And this is what allows us to keep growing, to keep expanding, and to keep having more and more. And again, it's not about, the point here is that we are not running away from something. We are not running or trying to destroy something. We are outgrowing. We are moving forward. The reason why I'm talking about this right now, again, is because very soon, next year, we are having the conjunction between Uranus and Jupiter. And even though we still have approximately 6 months until then, I think this is a great time to start preparing and to think about in what way you would like to grow and to evolve. And obviously, this isn't like one general thing that we should all pursue. Yes, there might be some important topics that would affect us as society or even humanity overall, but also every one of us will have something personal. And it's a great time actually to focus on this. And again, I will remind you about this a few times. Don't focus on the things that, you know, make you feel stuck or that you want to run away from or that you even want to destroy. If you focus on that, this is Saturn Uranus. Focus on something which will help you expand, or an area where you want to expand and where you want to grow. That's the point of Jupiter Uranus. And when we have this focus, this may turn into something long-term, something that continues, something that doesn't have like a final destination. Anything which sounds like a final destination, you know, like I want to get to this level. It may sound like, I don't know, like for example, I want to earn $1 million, or I want to study one concrete thing like an education. If you set it in this way, this is not evolution. this is more like achieving some kind of concrete result. I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but it's not the maximum of what we can get. The maximum of what we can get with Jupiter and Uranus is to continue growing in certain area. And again, it could be in any area. It could be about money. It could be about education. For someone, for example, if it triggers your personal houses, it could be even about family or relationships or business, or you name it. It could be really anything. But the point is that if you want to get the maximum, don't set goals which sound like limiting goals. Instead, focus on the process, like the change in terms of the quality you want to experience in your life. That's what this really is about. Another thing which is also essential, Uranus is an outer planet, which means that this is an invisible planet for us. And for us as individuals, it's, I would say, more difficult and definitely more specific to process this type of energy. And we can't have like a direct access to this energy. How we can process it is when it's connected to the other planets, to the visible planets. It could be any of the other planets, from the Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. So that's how we connect to the outer planets. They need to be somehow connected to the personal planets. That applies both to your birth chart and also to the transiting situation as well. So what this means is that the upcoming conjunction between Jupiter and Uranus in 24 can allow us to access more of this Uranus energy. Collectively, yes, but also personally as well. And it means that we might be able to really go on a new level, to change something significantly, to evolve, to grow, to develop. And I think that's pretty good news, and that's pretty exciting. So I would highly recommend you first to have this as an intention in your mind. Again, that's why we talk about this in advance. So you have the time to really allow this energy to get to you. And what happens then is that you are more open to something new and something inspiring. So again, focus on growth. I would say the biggest mistake here would be to focus on something negative that you want to escape from or you want to run away from. That's not the right approach, or at least it won't help you to get the maximum. Instead, focus on something which sounds inspiring, which sounds meaningful to you, which seems like, okay, this can really motivate me. I want to move in this direction. I want to grow. I want to expand. When you do that, you can really use the energy of Jupiter and Uranus. Otherwise, we are staying more on the level of Saturn. But right now, we are not expecting a Saturn transit. We are expecting a Jupiter-Uranus transit. So try to focus on something that would feel inspiring, that would feel like something that would really help you to look out for your own future, to be inspired by your own future. And again, not because you hate something now or you feel stuck or limited, but because you find something valuable for yourself, something which is inspiring. One of the greatest lessons which I keep learning and confirming in different ways from different areas of knowledge, like astrology, like psychology, like even GSR, which is like the best transformational technique. All of those knowledges confirm very similar things. One of them is that in order to achieve something, you shouldn't be desperate about it. And I think if you try to analyze your life, or maybe even in books or the stories of other people. How many of you have either been through this or you have seen it in other people's lives? Like, for example, let's say someone is desperately wanting to have a relationship and they try and it doesn't work, or it fails, or whatever. They can't find the right person and they are desperate. And the moment that they let this go, and it may sound differently. It may sound like, well, I'm tired, I'm giving up, or, well, I will find another meaningful thing in my life. The moment they get to this point, they actually get what they wanted initially. This also, another real life example is often with women who want to get pregnant. I'm pretty sure that you also know stories of women or families which desperately wanted to have a baby, and they can try for years and different approaches and many stories about this. And the moment that they accept that maybe they will not have it, or they need to focus on something else, and they stop focusing desperately on this, that's the time when they get pregnant or achieve the thing that they want. So this is also essential. If we want to achieve something, we should be ready also to live without it. And we should not be desperately attached and focused on this. It applies to absolutely everything you may want in your life. Love, money, business, health, kids, creativity, success, popularity, you name it, everything. If you want something, you should work on your attachments to the same thing, because that's also what can block the process. Very interesting concept. I know it's not always easy for us, but just try to find those stories, and I'm pretty sure that you will find them both in your personal life or in the stories of other people. And that's what Jupiter and Uranus is about. It's not about setting a goal and kind of like breaking your back to get it. That's not the approach, and it will not take us where we want to go. We should choose something that sounds inspiring, uplifting, that motivates us, that makes us feel excited about the future. And at the same time, we should be very relaxed about the whole process. Not to be ready to do like everything, no matter what. Again, to sacrifice everything, to feel like, you are going on a battle and that you cannot give this up, like you are ready to give your life for this. This is not a recipe for success, and definitely not for happiness. So work on your attachments and focus on the inspiration. Not, this, if you feel desperate, you will either not get what you want, or if you get it, you will still be somehow disappointed. That's just, that's, by the way, closer to Uranus and Saturn. That's closer to when we want some kind of revolution, when we want to escape from some kind of prison. It could be metaphorical, it could be symbolic, of course. But when we are desperate, that's the same thing that makes us feel stuck in the same place. Or even if we make the next step, we will just end up being in another prison, symbolically, metaphorically. So Jupiter-Uranus is not about that. Jupiter and Uranus is about liberation. And even today we are still having an amazing training with GSR, and we were also discussing this, how our strongest attachments are basically making us feel stuck and unable to achieve what we really want. So Jupiter and Uranus are planets which are both oriented on freedom and liberation. So that's what we should focus on. Freedom and liberation. Generally speaking, also for society, for humanity, this conjunction is in Taurus. So we may expect some kind of very concrete, practical changes. I would say even innovations, some kind of breakthroughs are also possible. I was also looking for charts of people who have this conjunction in their natal charts. And obviously there are many people, but some of those who kind of like made a strong impression for me. The first one is Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs has a conjunction. Let me check which was the sign. His conjunction is in Cancer. So he also has a Jupiter-Uranus conjunction in Cancer in his 10th house also. I think that we would all agree, and you don't need to be an Apple fan. You may or may not be. That's a whole other thing. But I think that we would all agree that he has brought something completely new, like a real, I would say, evolution, not just revolution. His work is some kind of evolution, like everything that he has created, there is some kind of ideology. That's another essential thing. So think also about Jupiter and Uranus, to find the ideal that would move you or help you to move forward. I've been rereading recently one book that is also very popular. I hope I won't make a mistake with the author. I think it was Simon Sinek. The book is called Start With Why. I think this is so much related also to the Jupiter-Uranus energy. To ask yourself, like, generally, what is your big why? Simon also talks a lot about Apple in his book and Steve Jobs and how basically they know very well, I mean, the company in Steve Jobs, they know very well their why they are in business, why they're doing what they're doing. So it's a really great book for not only for business people, but I would say also for creative people, if you want to do something different. So I highly recommend it. And this is also a wonderful time to focus on finding your own deep, true why you want to do something. Again, if it's your business, you definitely need to focus on that. If you want to be successful, if you want to achieve something, it could be education-wise, it could be personally, also to define what is your why, what motivates you, what is the purpose. And again, if we take the example with the business, it's not about the features. It's not about, for example, again, Simon is describing this, I think the iPod, yes, when the iPod was created, the way they advertised it is 100 songs in your pocket, 1,000 songs in your pocket or something like this. So they are not saying like, I don't know, for example, like 1 gigabyte or whatever, like something technical. They are going for, what you are getting, not features. And overall, it's a whole philosophy, it's a whole picture of the world that Apple are created. And I'm not advertising Apple in any way. I have nothing to do with them. But I think that we can all learn so much from this. And again, you don't need to be an Apple fan. Absolutely not. But this concept of finding the deep reason to motivate yourself, to motivate other people. It could be in business, it could be your kids, it could be your family, your partner, anyone at all. But first of all, as you may guess, you need to motivate yourself. So we always start from there. So this Jupiter-Uranus energy during 2024 is amazing to do this work, to find your why. And when you find your why, then you have the how, then you have the what, but those may change. So, for example, if you are in business, you may focus on different things as long as they fit your why. In your personal life, you may also find other variations of how or what would bring you your why. But the why, it's like, it's like a guiding light. It's like the main purpose, the main motivation. It's a really inspiring work. If you think about it, it may take some time. Like maybe some of you will know this right away. Maybe you need some time for that. Maybe it will be a process and it may change also with time. I think that also we should give ourselves the freedom to evolve in this area as well. So it's not something that should be set in stone and you are not allowed to change. But for the near future or for the long future, or for now, this could be your focus, your guiding light, where you want to be, why you want to get there. So this is totally about Jupiter and Uranus and making those radical changes that will help you to get there. A few concrete recommendations, more like astrology related. How to find the scale, or like how important this conjunction would be for you personally. First thing, check if you have any aspect between Jupiter and Uranus in your natal chart. Of course, the most important are the conjunctions. So if you have a conjunction, then congratulations, you will be the ones that would feel this in the most intense way. But if you have any of the other aspects, you are still going to feel the energy stronger than the average person. If you have opposition, square, or conjunction, you would feel this like in the most intense way. If you have a trine or a sextile, you're also going to feel it. Not so intensely and more harmoniously usually, but you're also going to feel it. Any other minor aspects like the creative, the karmic aspects, they also matter. So don't neglect those as well. For example, you may have a quintile, you may have a nonagon or square and a half. Those aspects also matter. So what this means is that the transiting situation, the transiting conjunction between Uranus and Jupiter will trigger the natal topic. So you need to see, okay, let's say, for example, in my case, I personally have a square between Uranus and Jupiter, and they are in 6th and 9th house. So in my case, I really need to explore this connection, 6th and 9th house. And because it's a square, then it may require some kind of radical shift, some kind of extra effort I need to put. You can also check, okay, which are the houses which are ruled by those two planets. Those areas may also go through some kind of transformation or growth or some kind of, we may even say evolution. Of course, when I say evolution, I should make this also clear that evolution is not guaranteed to all of us. We need to do something about it. First of all, we need to be prepared. Second of all, it will require some kind of effort, some kind of commitment, some kind of desire to do something about it. So again, it's not like, happening out of nowhere. Even though we may also be open that there might be some kind of unexpected gifts or opportunities, because that's also Jupiter and Uranus. Jupiter could be about success, prosperity, growth, opportunities, and Uranus may bring something unexpected or even shocking, or something that is, beyond our expectations. That's also possible. So gifts, rewards, and I would say it's luck, but for me, it's not really luck, because I think that we all deserve our luck. Even if it looks like, oh, you got lucky, you received some kind of opportunities. Trust me, you have worked for this in some way before that. So we always deserve our luck, in other words. So it's possible that we may also get some kind of lucky opportunities, something that happens, surprisingly, unexpectedly. And I think that it can all be really exciting. Another suggestion I have, and recommendation, focus also on something concrete and measurable. Yes, from one side, Jupiter and Uranus, they are both very philosophical, focused on ideas, on inspiration. But this time, our conjunction is in Taurus. So to get the maximum of this, we need to be concrete and present and in touch with reality. And see also what is like another great benefit of this. When we have such specific planets, especially Uranus, which is very, as we said, like related to invisible things, it's related to evolution, it's related to the future. We may call this also like a more spiritual planet. But when it connects to Jupiter, which is a visible planet, and it's also happening in Taurus, which is a very concrete, practical, grounded sign, what may happen is that all of those inspiring ideas or visions or inspiration might be materialized in something concrete. In other words, to have some kind of concrete result, not just to dream about it, not just to have this as a beautiful thought or a dream or an ideal, and, you know, just to let it be there, but instead to implement this, to do something concrete in your life, to, you know, to focus on some kind of benefits or improvements related to your own life here and now on the earth. So I find this also really inspiring and really positive to get those ideals and also to connect to them here on earth. I think it's amazing. Okay. Let's see. I'm not sure why I can't see the comments on YouTube, unfortunately, but I can see them on Facebook. So if you have any questions, you are welcome to ask them. Yeah, so I looked also at another interesting chart. We know recently we lost Matthew Perry, and I just noticed that he also has this conjunction, and not only him, but also Jennifer Aniston. So two of the stars of, I would say, the TV show that really changed the industry and will definitely, I think, stay for us, at least for certain generations, maybe not for everyone, but I think for my generation, definitely Friends is the TV show that will be eternal, like it will stay forever with us. And I think it really brought something new to this industry as well. Yes, of course, there have been great shows before that, but there is something new. There is something that kind of like brings this industry to a new level, in my opinion, with the Friends show. And two of the leading characters, Jennifer Aniston and Matthew Perry, they have this conjunction also. I also think that that's not a coincidence, that such people who have Jupiter-Uranus aspects, they can bring something new. They can bring something that, again, it's not just revolution, it's evolution, something that may grow and may expand in different ways. So if you have such an aspect in your chart, and again, not only the conjunction, any aspect, even if it's a minor aspect, it still indicates that you have this potential, that you can do something that, of course, it could be more personally related to some kind of evolution, to something, you know, which helps you to grow yourself. But if there are other supportive indications, you may even scale this and do something more significant for other people as well, like Steve Jobs, like the Friends actors, even other singers I found, like Jennifer Lopez, Mariah Carey, like many people, many famous people who have brought something new have such aspects. One of the spiritual teachers also, Helena Blavatsky, or Blavatsky, depends how you pronounce her name. She's very specific. She's more into the occult knowledge. She has created, or she's one of the creators of the theosophical knowledge, which is very deep. Like, there are some questions around it, but in every case, it's very like evolutionary. It's something new. And she also has this conjunction in her 8th house, which is absolutely amazing for someone who is diving deeper into the occult, the invisible, exploring what's beyond. So depending on the position of this aspect, again, if you have it in your natal chart or right now during 2024, depending on what is triggered in your chart, you may also find either something inspiring, something deeper, something more. Sometimes we use the word revolutionary, but the more accurate way to describe it is evolutionary, something that is related to ongoing growth, not just, to get the check and then to forget about it. It's more about continuous development. So check this in your chart. We have the conjunction on the 22nd degree. Let me confirm again. Was it 22nd or 23rd? The 22nd degree of Taurus. The exact conjunction is during April, on the 20th of April, but more or less this will be the main theme of the whole year. Especially important for the earth signs. So especially if you are Taurus or if you have planets around those degrees, I would say between the 15th and the 29th, the 30th degree of Taurus, then you, my friends, are really lucky because there could be very important opportunities and transformations for you can be presented. The other earth signs, Capricorn and Virgo, will also feel this significantly, especially if your planets are around those degrees. And everyone else, we need to check where this conjunction will be in our natal chart. And my recommendation is prepare for this in advance. Set an intention and a goal. Make sure that you are not desperate about it, that you are not extremely attached to it. And make sure also that you are enjoying the process of moving in this direction. If you are desperate about some kind of final result, this is not a process of evolution. This is usually some kind of frustration that we are trying to escape from or to run away from. That's one of the ways to also test or to check yourself. Are you really going in a process of evolution and development, or you're just randomly running away from things? If you are desperate to get to where you think you are supposed to be, that's not the evolution process. If you have the inspiration, and usually, again, it doesn't sound like a final concrete things, it's more like a direction. And if you notice that you just enjoy moving in this direction, making every step, then most likely you are closer to the process of evolution. And it doesn't mean that everything should happen without any effort or without any problems. Of course, in life, we know that, we struggle sometimes, we overcome challenges. So that's also normal. But as long as you are not, again, desperate for not being where you want to be, but you just enjoy getting closer and closer, then most likely you are on the right path. And of course, if you want more concrete recommendations, you can have a reading with me and we can discuss this in more details. Below the video, you should be able to find, or We should add the links. They should be there if you are interested. Let me see your questions. Uranus and Jupiter will be conjunct the natal Jupiter. Well, that's even more interesting. You are having a Jupiter return together with Uranus. So congratulations. It's time for some kind of big changes, and they could be both in your personal life or something very internal, because fourth house, this is from one side our roots, like the family, our origin, where we come from, but psychologically this also describes the roots and the foundation. So this is also one direction, like how to explore and to find deeper resources or some kind of potential that is not expressed yet. That's my recommendation for you, Emma. The conjunction will trine Venus and Jupiter. Also very beneficial. Yes. In 10th house, yes. It could be career related, business related. Innovative farming technologies. Okay, so you know what you're doing, because that's exactly the Uranus, Jupiter, Taurus energy. So yeah, very good focus. I want to add one more thing. So what might be the challenges? Because we should be also realistic. We shouldn't kind of like escape only or like neglect the possible challenges, because challenges may also show up. That's life. And every aspect, even the most harmonious aspects, even let's say Jupiter, Venus, may have some kind of more challenging sides, or something that could be even like a trap or something that we are not considering. So Jupiter and Uranus can totally bring also something unexpected, some kind of radical desire to change something. Also, we should be mindful with our beliefs and our like mental concepts and the things that we pursue, because Jupiter Uranus sometimes can make us more radical, especially if you have a challenging aspect in your chart, like a square, like an opposition. Your worldview might be more untraditional. You might be more radical when it comes to some kind of ideas, concepts. I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but you should also be aware of this, that such an energy may trigger some kind of radical ideas, something which can be, this is an important focus, something which could be difficult for other people to get. Jupiter Uranus can make our ideas or concepts or focuses so untraditional that not everyone might be able to get them. And here the Taurus energy is important, and I think can really help us to stay down to earth, to check, okay, I have, let's say, this inspiring idea. I'm so motivated. I'm really, I see the changes for me or for people or maybe even for humanity. Okay, it's great that if you are inspired, but then check how to find the right approach to present it to others so that they would also get it. Because with Jupiter Uranus, we may get so carried away by our ideals or visions or beliefs that we might be too ahead of time. This is, I think, the main problem. We may jump too much ahead of time, And then we might be shocked, but other people don't get this. They don't understand this. Like, what is happening? Some things that may seem obvious to you may not be so obvious for others. So try to keep this connection, especially if you are going after some more concrete results. Yes, those are the people who are, like bringing evolution for everyone else. Those are like the first line, the people who are bringing something new radically. But very often those people are also difficult to get, and others don't necessarily understand them. So if you want something more concrete as a result, don't forget this focus, this to check, okay, I have this, it's so inspiring, I really get it. But then look around yourself, like, are other people prepared for this? Can you do something to like prepare the environment, or maybe to explain better, or something in this direction? This is also essential, because otherwise we might get carried away in our philosophical ideas or dreams or visions, and we may forget about reality and other people who might be on a different level in some way. So make sure to keep this connection. It's essential also. Okay, so I think that we covered some of the most important things about this conjunction. We have time, so don't push yourself. It's not about, figuring it out in the next week or so. Just be open. That's my recommendation. Just be open. Plus, very soon, in a few days, we have a new moon. And this new moon will trigger Uranus and also Jupiter. So those are like the first impulses of this energy, I think. And yeah, it's worth it to pay attention. So stay open, focus on growth and evolution. Make sure that you are enjoying the process, that you are not desperate about the result you are pursuing. And make sure also to check that you are keeping in touch with the present, with the environment, with other people, so that you can really link this, that you can channel it. May sound too esoteric. It doesn't need to be something too spiritual or esoteric. It could be something very practical, but to be able to channel this energy means to get those ideas or inspirations or visions or whatever, and to be able to use them in reality. In other words, to benefit also here and now. So thank you so much for joining me. If you want to work with me, of course, we can look at your chart. We can analyze, we can talk about prediction, we can explore like which are the areas of development for you. And also we can work on concrete focuses with GSR. GSR is a technique which I use in my work for transformation. This is the method which can help you, and it will help you to work on different problems, goals, to uncover deeper resources. So you can find this also on AstroladaOfficial website. If you have any questions, you can also contact me through the message form from the website, and I would help you with what I can. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you very soon. If you have also topics which are interesting to you, please feel free to, you can message AstrolLada on Instagram, you can text me, you can use the form through the website. So if there are topics which you are excited about, you are interested, you want to know more of, please don't hesitate also to suggest them. I would happily talk about those things with you as well. So thank you so much again, and I will see you